Did you hear that, my trusty shovel? Dragons and mysterious graves. It's just like old times.
The Elder Scrolls Online has won MMORPG.com's Player's Choice for Best Overall MMO 3 years running, and the Most Improved MMO of 2018. Having played it since day one, I can definitely understand why. If you're a fan of MMOs or the Elder Scrolls series, or even just a fan of role-playing games and you haven't tried the Elder Scrolls Online, now is a fantastic time to give it a go. Since the game launched in 2014 to mixed reviews, entire zones locked off depending on which faction you chose, and a controversial subscription fee that you had to pay to play the game, it has come on leaps and bounds. The subscription fee is now completely optional, and for veteran players can be worth the price just for the craft bag alone. The 1 TAMRIEL update opened up all zones to everyone in every faction, and the game has been consistently updated with patches, quality of life improvements, and awesome new content. So here are 10 reasons you should play ESO in 2019. My personal favourite thing about the Elder Scrolls Online is that it allows you to discover and explore most of the regions of Tamriel and even some places outside of Tamriel. For those that aren't familiar with the Elder Scrolls lore, Tamriel is the continent where most of the Elder Scrolls games take place. Tamriel is made up of different regions, each with their own native race. For example, in Elder Scrolls Morrowind, you explore the native land of the Dark Elves, in Oblivion you explore the native land of the Imperials, and in Skyrim you explore the native land of the Nords. In the Elder Scrolls Online, you get to visit regions that have never been seen before in any previous Elder Scrolls game, such as Murkmire, Hrothgar, Somerset, Grahtwood, Artaeum, Elsewhere, the Clockwork City, and many more. All of these places that we've only heard mentioned or read in books in the mainline Elder Scrolls games are now explorable, allowing you to learn more about all of these different races and the lands they inhabit. Another great reason to play ESO is the fantastic progression system that allows you to build your character from a weak soul-shriven into a powerful build of your choosing. For example, when you are low level, your armor and weapons will look very basic and boring, but as you start leveling up and become more powerful, you will see your armor increasing in quality just by the way it looks, giving you an incentive to get to the max rank and have the most intricate and best looking armors available. You get extra rewards each time you level up, such as powerful weapons, armor, boxes of crafting materials, new outfits, pets, and even horses, constantly encouraging you to get to the next level to get that next reward. The game also has a ridiculous amount of skills, perks, and classes, allowing you to create an absurd amount of different builds, from a Magicka-focused Templar healer to a Stamina-focused Nightblade damage dealer, or a health-focused Necromancer tank, and so many other options. In the Elder Scrolls Online, there are 10 different races, each with their own unique racial perks, and 6 different classes, each with 3 unique skill lines. Each class has different perks and abilities that allow you to be an effective healer, tank, or damage dealer, which gives you an incredible amount of freedom to create unique builds that suit how you want to play the game. It doesn't even stop once you hit the maximum rank of 50, because you then start the champion points leveling system, which continues your progression even past hitting the veteran rank. Champion points allow you to further improve your character's abilities, with each point giving you a small increase in specific stats that your character can make use of. One of the great things about the champion system is your champion points carry across all your characters, so if you have a veteran rank character with 300 champion points and you start another fresh level 1 character, you can use those champion points on your new character at level 1, which is a fantastic way to reward veteran players and make it feel like you are not completely starting over when you create a new character because you want to try out a different class. You never have to talk to anyone if you just want to quest on your own. The PvE, or player versus environments content in the Elder Scrolls Online is ridiculous. You could easily play this game for hundreds of hours on your own, never touching the PvP or player versus player content, just questing and exploring the different regions. If you are a fan of the exploration and questing in the Elder Scrolls games, you will love the Elder Scrolls Online. It's filled with unique enemies, interesting NPCs, awesome storylines, and so much more great PvE content. You can treat it as just another Elder Scrolls game if you want to, and just do all the quests and ignore other players and the cooperative content. Each region in the Elder Scrolls Online is filled with quests, world bosses, delves, sky shards, treasure maps, and the recently added zone guide allows you to tick off all of the available PvE content in each region so you don't miss any of the content that's on offer. However, the PvE content isn't just limited to zones and questing, there is also an absurd amount of dungeons and trials in the game. Dungeons are 4-player co-op challenges that put a healer, tank, and 2 damage dealers up against hordes of enemies and powerful bosses, and each dungeon has its own quest, lore, and story to tell. The daily random dungeon rewards give you an insane amount of XP, encouraging you to try all of the different dungeons in the game. Trials are 12-player co-op dungeons that provide very rare and unique rewards when you complete them. These offer more of a challenge and often require a good understanding of the mechanics of the game to complete. All dungeons and trials have 2 separate versions, a normal version and a veteran version, the veteran versions being significantly harder and giving you much better rewards. There is even a solo trial called Maelstrom Arena, which is an insanely difficult dungeon that rewards you with some of the best weapons in the game. To be completely honest, I've hardly touched the PvP content in the Elder Scrolls Online, but if that's your thing, there is still plenty of content here for you with the Cyrodiil campaigns, which have been there since day one, which sees hundreds of players from 3 different alliances in the game battle it out for control of the Elder Scrolls and the Ruby Throne. This is basically an all-out war which sees whole groups of random players and some small groups of organised players in PvE guilds fighting for control of forts and the surrounding resources. You are rewarded with alliance points which you can spend on unique rewards, siege weapons and more. Campaigns can last from a week to a month, and multiple campaigns in Cyrodiil can occur at the same time. At the end of a campaign, players receive rewards based on whether an alliance came in first, second or third for that campaign, with first obviously getting the best rewards. Individual rewards are also based on your contribution. Coming in the top 50 of any alliance will always award a random epic quality item, and top 10 involves a significantly boosted set. Cyrodiil also offers PvE content, such as repeatable quests found in towns, exploring caves, crumbling towers, Iliad ruins and more, as well as finding valuable crafting materials that can only be obtained in Cyrodiil. There is also the Imperial City expansion, which is a PvP and PvE zone where the 3 alliances battle against each other, against the Daedra of Cold Harbour and against the Imperials as they fight for control of the city and the Ruby Throne. Competing in the Imperial City rewards you with Tel Var stones, which you can spend on rare armor sets and other unique items. To round off the PvP content, there is also the Battlegrounds mode, which is a more traditional PvP mode with death matches, domination and capture the flag, which puts small teams up against each other to reach the target score first, or whoever has the highest score when time runs out. At the end, the matches, your points and medals contribute to endgame rewards, including alliance points, experience points and items. Another reason to play ESO is that new content is constantly being added to the game, and it doesn't look like this is going to stop anytime soon. This new content includes small zone DLCs that add a new area on the map to explore, chapters which add larger areas on the map and often other content such as new classes, a new trial or a new crafting system, dungeon DLCs which add new dungeons, and there are regular events such as the Jesters Festival. All of this means the game is constantly being freshened up with new content, and there is always something new to look forward to. Another great reason to play ESO is that it is very easy to learn, but very difficult to master. The game does a great job of introducing you to the combat mechanics in the tutorial area, and most of the normal player versus environment content, such as questing and dungeons, are relatively easy and can be completed by a casual player. However, some of the veteran and endgame content such as veteran trials, dungeons and the Maelstrom Arena is incredibly difficult, but of course the better you get at the game, the more effective you will be in PvP and PvE. This means that the veteran and experienced players are challenged and have exciting content to play, and new players have an easy time completing the main content the game has to offer. ESO has a very friendly community of players, and the recently added Guild Finder makes it stupidly easy to find a group of players to join in with group content such as dungeons and trials. The different categories of guilds make it so that anyone can find like-minded players that are playing the game in the same way as you are. The categories include social guilds, trading guilds, PvE, dungeons and trial guilds, PvP guilds, and even role-playing guilds. You can of course just completely ignore the guilds and just play with friends in small groups, or just play the game on your own. It's up to you. Another reason to play ESO is the crafting and fashion. A lot of veteran players will half-jokingly tell you that ESO endgame is just fashion. Obviously it's not just fashion, but there is a ridiculous amount of different crafting motifs for different armor and weapon styles, as well as different looks depending on the level of your armor. The crafting system in ESO is incredibly in-depth while still being easy to understand. There are 3 main crafting benches for armor and weapons, blacksmith stations allow you to craft heavy armor and melee weapons, clothing benches let you craft light and medium armor, and woodworking benches let you craft staffs, bows and shields. There are different crafting materials for different level ranges, which do eventually stop once you reach 160 champions points, and you can use different style materials. For example, using corundum will craft your armor in the Nord style, and crafting using flint will craft in the Argonian style. You can also add unique traits to your weapons with different trait materials, which give you unique bonuses. If that wasn't enough, you can even craft unique sets of armor by using specific crafting stations found in the world, providing you have researched enough armor traits. You learn traits by finding armor in the world with traits on them, and then researching them, which will take longer depending on how many traits you've researched already for that particular item. You learn armor styles by getting hold of motif books from containers, rewards for completing certain quests, dungeons, or buying them from guild traders. You can also dye your armor different colours at a dye station. You unlock new colours by earning achievements in the game. Then there is alchemy, enchanting, and the recently added jewellery crafting, which all work in a similar way to the armor and weapons crafting, but they of course use different materials and have a few small differences. There is a lot more to these other types of crafting that I could explain, but I want to keep this video at an acceptable length, so just know that the crafting system is awesome.
Buying, selling, I've got what you need.
Another fantastic aspect of ESO is trading. In the world of ESO, you will find guild traders in most of the main settlements that players can use to buy and sell crafting materials, motif books, weapons, armor, and pretty much every item found in the game. To gain access to selling, you will need to join a trade guild who will take a small portion of your sales to put towards bidding on a trader every week. Because of this, most guilds will set minimum weekly sales requirements so they can keep hold of their desired trader. This encourages players to always sell as much as they can, which means these traders are always stocked with loads of items for you to buy. Yes, sometimes you may have to shop around to find what you need, but I think it's a great system that encourages players to join a trade guild to make sure that they are constantly filling up their selling slots, which means you can pretty much always find that item that you're trying to buy from at least one trader in the game. A guy in one of the trade guilds I'm in said in guild chat that he spent the last 200 hours he played in ESO just trading, which shows you how much fun it can be to employ some of the trading methods in the game to make as much gold as possible. Finally, Elder Scrolls Online offers fantastic value for money, as the base edition of the game, which includes hundreds of hours of content, is just £7.50 or roughly $10 on Steam. However, there are quite a few different versions of the game available, and because there is so much DLC, things can get confusing, and if you're not careful, it can get quite expensive. At the time of recording this video, the Elsewhere Standard Edition, which includes the base game, the latest Elsewhere chapter, and the 2 previous chapters, Morrowind and Somerset, cost £50 or $60 for the digital version on Steam. In my opinion, this could be worth it if you know you're going to play through all of the chapters and all of the quests, because that's a lot of content you're getting. Another way to do it, however, would be to buy the base game first, see if you like it. If you do like it, then go ahead and get the Elsewhere Digital Collector's Edition, which includes the other chapters, Morrowind and Somerset. However, both of these editions mean that you don't have any of the other DLC, which is the smaller zones and some of the new dungeons. You can either buy these separately, which can be very costly, or you can get them as part of ESO Plus. Another way to do it, would be to get the base game and ESO Plus, which will grant you access to all of the game's DLC except the most recent chapter. If you really want to play the most recent chapter after you've played through everything else, which will take you hundreds of hours, you can then buy that chapter, or you can just wait until the next chapter releases. I don't know what will happen when the final chapter releases, whether that will be part of ESO Plus, or they'll just time it so that maybe after 6 months everyone on ESO Plus gets access to the final chapter. We'll have to wait and see. I can't see them stopping making chapters anytime soon. ESO Plus costs £9 or $15 for 30 days, or you can buy longer periods for more money but better value. It gives you access to all the DLC and all but the most recent chapter. However, the only problem with this is that you will lose access to all of this when the subscription runs out. So if you don't complete everything you wanted to do in the time that you have ESO Plus, you will have to buy even more time to get the content back. My recommendation, if you haven't played the base game yet, I would start by just getting the base game because it's so cheap. So if you don't like it, it's not like you've really lost out on very much. But if you do like it, you can then go ahead and figure out how you want to get access to the DLCs, whether you want to buy the Elsewhere Digital Upgrade Edition, or whether you just want to get ESO Plus and you're not bothered about having the very most recent chapter. It's all up to you really, but I would definitely just get the base game first to see if you like it. That will take us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it or found it helpful in deciding whether you want to get into playing The Elder Scrolls Online. If it did, please leave a like, and if you want to see any more of my videos, I really would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. A massive thank you to Fluky Robin for being the first channel member. Thank you so much for your support, it really does mean a lot. If you also want to support me and help me make more and better videos, please consider joining the guild and becoming a channel member. Just press the join button and I'll give you a shout out at the end of all my videos to thank you for your support. As a small creator, any support you can give is hugely appreciated, whether it's a like, a share or a membership. I'll see you in the next video. Good luck out there in Tamriel.